Instead of working my way towards an overarching theme over the next half a dozen episodes, I'd like to do something different and open with my central thesis for Gorilla Glacier right off the bat. Gorilla Glacier is a sort of barrier separating Kremling and Kong territory, but also the only viable path connecting the two. And without it, the Kremlings might never have been able to regain footing on the island. This is part 20 of Overthinking Donkey Kong Country. You could make the argument that Gorilla Glacier is a sort of no man's land between Kremling and Kong territory, but I don't think that's the case. I mean, it absolutely is the case, just not by design. If we're gonna roll with everything we've established so far, at some point, long ago, the Kremlings left the island. Then at some point, not as long ago, they came back. I think they've been back for a long time, much longer than it may appear on the surface. Much longer than even the evidence in monkey minds might say. And I think the first big clue we get as to when they return to the island is here. First, let's talk about the level itself. It's the first snow level, and it does a great job of emphasizing the hostility of this new environment. The music's foreboding, there's little traction on the ground, making traversal much harder, and about halfway in there's a huge snowstorm. Even coming back to it as an adult, when the snowfall picks up, I feel like the danger spikes somehow. The level definitely gets harder, so there's that, but I feel the storm serves to psych you out a bit. It's so gradual but so ominous. First, it simply starts with the sky darkening. Then, in the distance you can see it. Fast snowfall. Before long, the sky behind it whites out and soon you can no longer make out the mountains. Then the snow overtakes the trees between the mountains and the player, the sky behind it going completely white. Then it moves closer and closer, falling on the stage and obscuring your vision. The distant storm comes at you and overtakes you in real time, and it moves like it's after you. Gameplay-wise, the only real thing that stands out to me is getting a grip on the movement. There's a lot of barrel cannon action, as the name suggests, and some bouncing off neckies, but that's all just utilizing mechanics that are well and truly established, with a little in the way of expansion, mostly in the difficulty. The level does have a couple of happy accidents, where if you miss with certain barrel cannons, you can end up finding a bonus or a shortcut. So we've got the slippery surface and the barrel cannons. But yeah, I think the biggest standout is the progression of the storm. It's the most advanced, dynamic environmental effect we see in the entire game. It's also the last time we really get anything like that. No more sunsets, no more storms, with a slight but less notable return in Ice Age Alley. In fact, I think with two exceptions, all future levels are indoors. I think it's super cool to see, super impressive how Rare pulled it off, and something that I feel doesn't get the love it deserves. This game in general is just so damn beautiful, so it's only natural certain things kind of slip through the cracks, I guess. One thing I think this level does really well is sell the player on how difficult the traversal across Gorilla Glacier would be. From the storms, to the unstable footing, to the numerous pits, it's about as good as it gets in a 16-bit game when it comes to illustrating how perilous climbing a glacier would really be. There's no small amount of neckies in this level too, which kind of backs up the theory I floated back in Vulture Culture about how they roost along the edge of the mountain. It's a little detail, but I thought it was cool. I want to circle back to the point I made at the start of this video. Throughout Gorilla Glacier, we're going to be exploring the idea that this part of the island is a sort of divide between where the Kremlings set up their operations upon returning to the island, and the areas of the island inhabited by the Kongs and the other species. As for how they made it back to the island undetected, that's actually something we'll get into in Chimp Cabins. But for now, let's just take it as fact that they found a way to get a foothold on the island without being detected. They set up Kremkrok Industries, and we're here on the island, undisturbed for long enough to set up mining operations, build refineries, and completely trash the environment. I think they had so much time because they were hidden from the Kongs and the rest of the island's inhabitants by the glacier. I'm getting ahead of myself a bit, sure, but this is the first time we get any sort of clue as to how they managed to fly under the radar for so long. Alright, 20 episodes done. One more in this series is legally old enough to drink in the States. That joke was really bad. Not sorry, but you know. Now we're just gonna sit here and stew in the awkwardness. Both of us. Just really present in the moment, you know? Okay, that's long enough. As always, thank you so much for watching. These videos are starting to melt my brain a bit, but I'd be lying if I said I wasn't having fun. I think that's everything. Be good to yourselves, be good to others, I guess, and I will see you around.